Imagine a woman in her 90s, her silver hair tied back neatly, moving with the grace and strength of a person half her age as she practices karate on a sun-drenched beach in Okinawa. She does not move with the stiffness we often associate with aging, but with a fluid, joyful energy that seems to defy time itself. This is not a scene from a movie, but a daily reality on this small Japanese island, where people do not just live longer, they live better. Research published in leading medical journals shows that Okinawans have the lowest rates of heart disease, cancer, and dementia in the world, and their biological markers often suggest their bodies are 30 years younger than their actual age. As a doctor who has spent decades helping seniors in America regain their mobility and spirit, I have looked deeply into why these elders remain so vibrant while many of us here struggle with every step. Today, I want to share with you the 3 essential vitamins that act as the cornerstone of their youth, helping them conquer the very things that make us feel old. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from and what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Many of my patients come to me feeling as though their bodies have betrayed them almost overnight. They describe a heavy fatigue in their joints, a sudden loss of muscle that makes the stairs seem like a mountain, and the frustration of waking up more tired than when they went to bed. In the medical world, we call this the silent onset of sarcopenia and osteoporosis, but to you, it feels like a loss of freedom. It is as if a silent thief has entered your home and slowly taken away your balance, your strength, and your confidence to walk to the mailbox or play with your grandchildren. This decline is often viewed as an inevitable part of getting older in Western culture, where we spend much of our time sitting in soft chairs and eating processed foods that lack the vital nutrients our aging cells crave. But in the traditional Japanese way of life, aging is seen not as a decline, but as a second spring. The difference lies in how they nourish the connection between their muscles and bones. While we often focus on heavy medications once a problem arises, the Okinawan elders focus on the invisible strength within their cells. They understand that after 60, the body changes how it processes energy, and if we do not provide the specific keys to unlock that energy, our muscles begin to wither like a garden without water. Consider the simple act of standing up from a chair, something many of my American friends find increasingly difficult as the years pass. In Okinawa, many elders spend their days sitting on the floor on tatami mats, which requires them to stand up and sit down dozens of times a day. This natural movement keeps their lower body muscles engaged and their bones dense. When I talk to my patients about this, they often realize that their struggle isn't just about age, but about a lack of the internal biological support that makes movement feel effortless. We are not just losing muscle mass. We are losing the communication between our brain and our limbs because of a deep nutritional gap that starts at the cellular level. This gap leads to the cramps that wake you up in the middle of the night and the lingering exhaustion that makes you want to stay in your recliner all day. But there is a way to bridge this gap, and it starts with understanding that your body is still capable of repair if given the right tools. The Okinawan secret isn't about doing more, but about eating with a deep respect for what the body needs to stay resilient, a concept they call shokuiku, or food education, which teaches that every bite should be a step toward vitality rather than a burden on the system. In my years of practice, I have noticed that many Americans view a meal as a challenge to be finished, often eating until they feel completely full or even uncomfortable. We were raised with the idea of cleaning our plates, but in Okinawa, there is a much gentler and more scientific approach called Hara Hachi Bu. This ancient piece of wisdom advises people to stop eating when they are only 80% full. It sounds simple, but for someone over 60, this practice is a powerful medical tool. When we overeat, our digestive system has to work overtime diverting energy away from repairing our muscles and joints. As we age, our metabolism slows down, and an overloaded stomach creates oxidative stress, which acts like rust on a car, slowly damaging our internal organs. By leaving that 20% of space in the stomach, you allow your body to focus on what truly matters: cellular repair and the efficient absorption of the vitamins we are about to discuss. Imagine your body as a high-performance engine. If you flood it with too much fuel, it begins to smoke and sputter. But if you give it just enough, it runs smoothly and lasts for decades. I remember a patient named Robert, a retired teacher from Ohio who struggled with constant bloating and a heavy feeling in his legs. When we started practicing Hara Hachi Bu together, he was surprised to find that within just 2 weeks, his energy levels doubled. He wasn't eating different foods yet. He was simply giving his body the breathing room it needed to function. This philosophy also changes your relationship with food, turning a meal into a mindful ceremony of gratitude rather than a task. It teaches us to listen to the subtle whispers of our bodies instead of the loud demands of our appetite. This foundation of moderation is what prepares your internal environment to receive the life-changing nutrients that the Okinawans rely on to keep their bodies feeling decades younger. The first secret to the Okinawan fountain of youth is a vibrant, deep purple vegetable that many Americans are only now beginning to discover. While we often rely on white potatoes or bread as our primary starch, the elders of Okinawa get about 60% of their daily calories from the beni imo, or the Okinawan purple sweet potato. This remarkable food is overflowing with vitamin A and a powerful group of antioxidants called anthocyanins. As a doctor, I see many seniors who worry about their failing eyesight and their skin becoming thin and fragile. These are not just signs of getting old. They are often signs of a vitamin A deficiency. This vitamin acts as a protective shield for your cells, particularly in your eyes, helping you see better in low light and protecting your retina from the harsh blue light of our modern screens. But the magic of the purple sweet potato goes even deeper into the skin and the immune system. In Japanese culture, there is a deep appreciation for the natural color of food, and they believe that the darker the color, the more life force it contains. Science backs this up. The anthocyanins that give the potato its purple hue are the same compounds found in blueberries, but in much higher concentrations. These compounds help fight inflammation, which is the root cause of the joint pain and brain fog that many people over 60 accept as normal. I once treated a woman named Martha who felt that her skin had lost its glow and her eyes were constantly tired. We introduced more orange and purple vegetables into her diet, following the Okinawan example of steaming them lightly to preserve their nutrients. After a few months, she noticed that the bruising on her arms decreased and her vision felt sharper. She wasn't just looking younger. She was feeling more resilient from the inside out. The beauty of this first vitamin is how easy it is to incorporate into your life. You don't need to move to Japan to find these benefits. You can look for purple sweet potatoes at your local health food store, or even choose deeply colored carrots and squashes. The key is to move away from the white starches that spike your blood sugar and replace them with these colorful powerhouses. When you eat like an Okinawan, you are not just filling your stomach, you are painting your internal landscape with the colors of health. This protection of your eyes and skin is just the beginning, a vital first step that clears the way for the next even more critical vitamin that focuses on the very structure that holds you up your bones. In my clinic, the fear of falling is perhaps the most common anxiety I hear from patients over 60. We often think that taking a calcium pill is enough to keep our bones from becoming brittle, but the Okinawan elders know a secret that Western medicine is only recently emphasizing. They rarely suffer from the hip fractures that are so common in America, and the reason lies in a dynamic duo of vitamins D3 and K2. Think of vitamin D3 as the general who recruits calcium from your food, and vitamin K2 as the navigator who tells that calcium exactly where to go. Without K2 calcium is like a traveler without a map. It wanders aimlessly and often ends up in the wrong places, like your arteries or your kidneys, causing stiffness and stones. But when these two work together, the calcium is directed straight into your bones and teeth, making them as resilient as the ancient cedar trees of Japan. Okinawans get their vitamin D3 naturally by spending time in the morning sun, often tending to their kariushi gardens or walking to visit neighbors. But their real secret for vitamin K2 is found in their love for fermented foods like miso and the traditional dish called natto. While natto might be an acquired taste for many of my American patients, the principle behind it is what matters. Fermentation creates a specific form of K2 that is incredibly easy for the body to use. I remember Henry, a former construction worker, who was terrified that a single stumble would end his independence. We focused on getting him safe sun exposure and incorporating fermented foods and high-quality supplements into his routine. Slowly, his bone density scans began to stabilize, and more importantly, his inner strength returned. He stopped looking at the ground when he walked and started looking at the horizon again. This combination doesn't just protect your skeleton. By keeping calcium out of your arteries, it keeps your heart flexible and young, allowing blood to flow freely to every corner of your body. Even with strong bones and clear vision, many people over 60 feel like their internal battery is constantly low. They struggle with painful leg cramps at night, restless sleep, and a feeling of being tired of being tired. This is often where the third essential nutrient comes in, which is actually a mineral that works like a vitamin magnesium, often paired with the vital vitamin B12. In the Okinawan diet, magnesium is abundant because they use nigari, a natural sea salt derivative, to make their tofu, and they eat plenty of seaweed like wakame and nori. Magnesium is the great relaxer of the body. It tells your muscles to let go of tension and your nervous system to quiet down after a long day. If you have ever felt that tightness in your calves or a heart that skips a beat when you are stressed, your body might be crying out for this quiet hero. Vitamin B12, on the other hand, is the spark plug for your nerves and brain. As we age, our stomachs produce less acid, making it harder to absorb B12 from our food, which can lead to memory lapses and that unsteady feeling on your feet. The Okinawans maintain their B12 levels through small amounts of high-quality fish and fermented soy. I once worked with a lady named Eleanor who suffered from such bad insomnia and leg cramps that she dreaded going to bed. We shifted her evening routine to include a warm bowl of miso soup rich in minerals and a gentle B12 supplement. She told me later that for the first time in years, she felt a quietness in her legs and a clarity in her mind. This combination of magnesium and B12 is what allows the elders of Japan to wake up with a sense of ikigai, a reason to get out of bed with joy. It bridges the gap between your brain and your limbs, ensuring that the electrical signals for movement and thought are clear and strong. When your nervous system is nourished, your sleep becomes a time of true restoration, allowing you to wake up feeling 30 years younger, ready to embrace the day with a steady hand and a calm heart. But vitamins alone are not the whole story. To truly unlock their power, we must look at a concept deeply rooted in Japanese culture called shokuiku, or food education. In my years of practice, I've seen many patients treat eating as a chore or something to do while watching the news, which often leads to poor digestion and a lack of joy in food. Shokuiku teaches us that how we eat is just as important as what we eat. It's about creating an atmosphere where the body is relaxed and ready to absorb every nutrient. In Japan, even the simplest meal is a feast for the eyes, served in small, beautiful bowls that encourage us to slow down and appreciate the colors and textures of our food. When we slow down, our brain has time to receive the signal that we are satisfied, preventing the overeating that drains our energy. I once suggested to a couple in Florida who were struggling with low appetite and fatigue that they try the small plate method. Instead of one large dinner plate piled with food, they began using smaller saucers for different items, one for a small piece of salmon, one for steamed greens, and one for their purple sweet potato. They told me that suddenly mealtime felt special again, like a daily celebration rather than a routine. This simple change in presentation stimulated their appetite and improved their mood, which in turn helped their bodies process those vital vitamins more efficiently. By bringing this Japanese sense of ichigyo zamai, or being fully present in one task to your dining table, you transform every meal into a healing session for your soul and your cells. This mindfulness at the table naturally flows into how we move our bodies throughout the day. Many of my American patients feel that if they can't go to the gym for an hour, then exercise is not worth doing. But the Okinawan elders teach us a different way, focusing on what we call natural movement. In Japan, you will often see people over 80 participating in radio taiso, a series of gentle morning stretches that wake up the joints and get the blood flowing. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency and kindness to your body. Think of your joints like a hinge on a door. If you don't move them gently every day, they become stiff and rusty. By incorporating small rhythmic movements into your morning routine, you can keep that rust away and maintain your independence. I recall a gentleman in Kyoto who was nearly 100 years old. When I asked him about his fitness routine, he laughed and said he didn't have one. Instead, he practiced hara, breathing while he waited for his tea to boil deep breaths into the belly that oxygenated his blood and calmed his heart. He also made a point of sitting on the floor and standing up several times a day, which kept his legs strong without ever lifting a single weight. For my friends watching in America, you can do this too. Try standing on one leg while you brush your teeth to improve your balance, or practice deep belly breathing while you sit in your favorite chair. These small acts are like deposits in a bank account for your future self. They don't require expensive equipment or a lot of time, only the intention to treat your body with the same respect that an Okinawan master treats a priceless work of art. As you nourish your body with vitamins and move with grace, you'll find that the unsolvable aches and pains of aging begin to fade, replaced by a steady, quiet strength. As we draw our journey to a close, I want you to remember that aging is not a process of fading away, but an opportunity to refine your life with the wisdom you have gathered. You have the power to reclaim your vitality, one bite of a purple sweet potato and one deep breath at a time. The Okinawan secret isn't just about vitamins or food. It is about the belief that every day is a gift and that your body is a sacred temple worthy of care. You are not a burden to your family. You are a library of stories and a source of love, and the world needs you to stay strong and vibrant. I hope these small steps from the East bring a new sense of hope and energy to your life here in the West. I believe in your strength, and I am honored to be a part of your journey toward health. Until next time, stay well, stay curious, and remember to treat yourself with the same kindness you give to others. Please note that health-related information on YouTube does not apply to everyone and is not medical advice. If you have health concerns, you must contact a doctor or hospital for consultation. If you believe you are experiencing a medical emergency, contact a doctor or call your local emergency number immediately.